Hey guys, we're going to be talking about texturing in this lesson. Real exciting stuff. Let's jump in by let's do like a oil tank or something a little bit more exciting. First, let's go ahead and bump it up. Let's make this thing a big puppy. Okay, a few more segments in there. Good detail to work with. And to teach texturing, I just want to make it simple. Let's run through how to create a new material. Basically, the materials are the same thing as texturing. And let's create this project as editable, not edible, like this sandwich right here. So to create a new material, come down to this tab, which is Materials, and it has File, New Material. If you don't have that, Command N will do the job. And if you don't have the Materials menu, go to Window, Materials Manager, and that should pop up the menu for you. So let's pop on a new material. Default is just gray. And you see over here we've got two different ways to edit it. You can just click, or you have a few of the preview things here. Not all of the tabs. You can see basic, color, specular. We've got color, specular. So you don't have all these options. When you double click this, the menu pops up, and this is the material editor. So let's go ahead and just make something simple like a blue color. You can click in the color well and, standard stuff. We've got a blue material. Hit OK. Or if you know how to do this fanciness, which I'm not very good at. So that didn't turn our barn capsule blue. We actually have to drag it on, just like this. You can see all of it is covered in blueness. If you want to create a new material, this down here, the materials, it could be a library of different things that you've created. We've got some red. Done. You can make another one, and you can just drop and drag whichever one you feel like dropping. It's kind of like got a USA theme going on here or something. If you don't want a material down here in the little library, just click it and hit delete, and it's gone. Because sometimes you could have a couple materials down here and it just gets crowded. You can also see the material has been dragged on twice. We don't need it on there twice, just once. And let me clarify something else too. This is different down here. When you click here and you edit it, these settings are different than when you click up here. Notice that. So this hierarchy here, whatever's to the right in terms of textures is on top. So if I had, actually I should make that other texture again. The red one. If I have this red one, if I drag this on here, the red is in the right, that means it's on top. If I actually move red to the left of it and turn the blue on, well, the blue is actually going to take over. You can also preview, if you have multiple up there, just by clicking. And then you can click and delete one up there. That doesn't delete it from the library down here, though. But back to what I was saying, these are different here in terms of editing. So if I click in my materials library and I proceed to edit, I'm going to have different menu systems than when I'm up here because, again, this is a hierarchy. And when it's in this menu, it shows how it's applied to the objects. So usually when I click up here to edit, it's to match a certain texture such as concrete wall or something like that. Might be a little confusing right now. Don't even worry about that. Let's go over some of the actual editing stuff for the material. So, color. We just did that. We've got diffusion, luminance. This is important. If you check it, you can see it applies. You usually get a preview over here or always up here. And you can change the brightness of this, and if you want to render, we can check it out. Okay. Then we've got transparency. That's how much you want it to be opaque, to be see-through. Reflection. If you have something in a scene and you want it to reflect your floor or something, you can drag a texture in here, a picture, and you could load it, or you could do, say, texture Fresnel, which is a very popular choice for many Cinema 4D artists. And you've got a good looking reflection, and you can adjust the gradient. This is something we do for almost all our videos. We turn on the reflection tab. I didn't even check that. And you can see the difference up here that made like that. So it gives it a realistic emulation of your scene. And then we've got environment. Now this is similar to reflection, not quite though. The environment tries to fake a reflection. So if you actually put in a picture of a background or something, it'll take that and try to make kind of it's like a fake reflection is how I think of it. It does a good job simulating the textures. And also what's great about the environment tab, and the reason you'd use it sometimes more than reflection, is because your rendering time goes way down. With reflection, you could render extra hours just with this checked and some of these settings on here. So, be careful of that depending on your computer and setup and how much time you have to wait. Then the next important one we've got is bump. This is really cool. If you check it and you put a texture in, I've included in the download some textures that you can try. You've got a pavement. I'll have a few more in here. I think this is like a knitting cloth. Then you've got stripes. And this, I think it's an elephant. I don't know what this is. Looks like an elephant rear end, kind of, to me. Huh. Not sure, but I'm going to take the pavement, and I'm going to go ahead and hit open. By the way, textures work best when they're black and white, or just very dark images with contrasted. So this is actually kind of pushing it. It should be more darker, but I think it'll do the job. So I'm going to turn the strength on, and we can kind of get a preview in here. You can barely see it, but if I render, you can see it's put the textures on. And that's what you use the bump filter for. Now I can also go here and clear this. We're going to start over, and these are known as procedural textures, so they're patterns. They're continuing patterns. Kind of like vector art, where you can scale it up as much as possible. Why am I going in there? I'm going to go to textures, and we're going to go to noise is good. I'm going to bump it way up. Bump this up a little bit, and hit render. And I'm going to go seeds way up. Way up. Like crazy amounts. And I'm also going to go to global scale down and hit render. Looking better. So this is like, just kind of cool textures you can put on. And there's a lot. If you go back to basic, if you go back to bump, you've got a bunch of here. Let's jump down to the next good one, which is alpha. This is cool because you can put little specks of kind of an alpha layer throughout the texture, so it's not completely see-through like our transparency. But if we do like we do a noise, and then let me put a human behind, all the way behind, render, and you could see it actually looks like they're inside. I think they are inside, but you can see see through of that a little bit, and it's cool because we got the texture on there. What would happen if we added the bump and rendered that out? Okay, it doesn't look like much difference. Let me delete that man. The next one is specular, though. This is sweet, and this is really important because you're going to use this all the time. At least I use it all the time. Let's go ahead and add a light, and you'll see what this does. If I hit render, you can see a little bit of specular right here. That's the white shine that you have on an object. So if we go ahead and build that width up, the height, fall off, and you can get your preview here. Fall off, if you keep it lower, it's going to look more feathered, whereas if you keep it high, it's going to be very cutty. Which cutty, I just learned, is a San Francisco lingo for like sketchy. Very interesting. Command R, render, and there's your little speck, your specularity. And you also can change your specular color. So this is cool if you don't want it actually white. You could make it green. You can make it whatever color you want. Knock yourself out. I mean, don't really, but specularity can really knock you out. It's happened to me before. Spend hours just. This is so cool. So if you want some glow, you can actually see it. It kind of gives it a. I'm going to switch to a sphere, and we'll be able to see it better. Let's go ahead and drag this material on, render, and the glow gives it like a. It's bouncing off light a little bit. And so those are your main materials that you're going to be using. You can also name it here. We can call this King Blue because I'm so vain. And the name also changed down here in the materials. That is basically the start lesson for materials and texturing. It wasn't too bad, was it? No, this is cool. It's like you're decorating. If you ever were into painting cookies, this is very similar to that. So next lesson, let's go ahead and do some practical stuff. Let's go ahead and learn how to throw a logo in Cinema 4D and texture that onto an object.